Welcome to Knocked Out Radio, your number one knockout podcast. The podcast everyone needs to listen to for tips and tricks, play-by-play commentary, tournaments, prizes. That's right. We're talking merch, in-game currency, and even cold hard cash, baby. Join us live every Thursday, or listen later on Fridays on all your favorite podcast services. Knocked Out Radio. It's not just a good time. It's a knockout. Please welcome your host, Nick and Metsu.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Knocked Out Radio KO! I am Nick. Here with me today is my co-host,
Metsu. What's going on, everybody?
And hey, if you're watching us live on twitch.tv/ThreadX3 Productions, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But if you're listening later, you could be listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Hey, why don't you try to join us live? We always try to make it interesting for you guys. And hey, if you do join us live, you can... Oh, God. Take two. And hey, if you do join us live, you can join us on the show. Call in, give your opinion about the topic of the day. Quick housekeeping. We had a charity tournament, and it went great. With a manner of speaking, a couple people didn't show up. One person rage quit, but it was fun all around. I want to thank again the people who did join us, and we're going to be giving the money to Extra Life. So that's going to be really nice, going to a good cause there. But that's a whole lot of hullabaloo. Let's get into the first segment of the day. Why am I having an issue with this? Okay, take two. Let's get into the first topic of the day.
It's time to get caught up on
So the first topic that we are talking about.
The intro's going.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Take two. Okay. Take three. Okay.
It's time to get caught up on all the news and gossip of the week. Let's take a look at our Knockout City News Bulletin.
All right, cool. So the first topic that we're going to be talking about today is going to be the review roundup, right?
Heck yeah. So we talked about this a little bit last week, but it was preliminary. So it's nice. We got you back on the show, so let's talk about the reviews themselves. Now, they're sort of final.
So the reviews, to my understanding, is that across the board is that their average is around 80, which is actually pretty good.
Yes, absolutely.
And you said that you've actually played all of the consoles, in which case I haven't. So do you want to touch up on like what your thoughts are compared to the reviews that they have, and then your personal experience with playing on each console? I've only played on PC.
Yeah. So I'd say the main one I play on is the PlayStation. That's the one I'm most comfortable on. And I'd say that's the one that's I'm probably also the best at, probably just because familiarity. I mean, bottom line is I really like the game. So like 80 is actually maybe a little low. Like let's see, this is the Switch. So if I look at PlayStation 4, 80, you know, not that I believe in numbers, but if I was to get it a number, I'd probably get it a lot closer to 9. I think at launch I was more just up in arms because before all the reviews came in, it was sitting at like 76, 78, and I'm just like, no, just get it up. I don't care what the number is, just get it up. But now having more time with it, spending time in the tournament rank and spending a lot more time in like ranked as well. I'm convinced it definitely needs to be a lot closer to 9. Unfortunately, it's not, but that'd be my Switch for me would probably be the lowest, and I would still say it would be like an 85 or an 8.5, and that's just because unless you have like a Pro controller, I really feel like those Joy-Con controllers are always just not that responsive. And you would think with the PlayStation, for instance, there's a little bit of a spring before you actually, I guess, click the button. Right. Whereas with the Switch, it's just a button. So you would think my like catch time or my reaction time would be a lot slower because there's just that little bit less on the Switch. But actually, I feel like I'm a lot worse on the Switch when it comes to catching or throwing. So interesting if you think about it. And then the PC is what I'm the worst on. I'm not even going to rank it because when I have to do like a flip with Q and a spin with E or something, it's just like my mind just goes, yes, you can do a controller. Unfortunately, I hadn't had the chance to try a controller on it. So yeah, I mean, that's
the preset for PC I personally don't like. Like I rebinded my stuff.
Right.
So on my mouse I have 12 buttons like for my thumb.
Oh God.
But yeah, it's an MMO mouse, and so I have my my flip and my spin on my thumb. So it makes things a lot easier to coordinate. But trying to do Q and E and you're only being able to hold forward, I just don't like that. That was not a good plan. But rebinding, it feels very smooth on PC.
Yeah. Now, interesting little tidbit. Right now, with only 7 ratings, the Switch is the highest at 9.6. So let's get a little bit. With 4 ratings, oh my goodness. The Xbox One is at 9.3. Sorry, this is audience, by the way. And with 12 whole ratings, the user score is at 8.4 on the PlayStation. So even by that, like, it seems like people are enjoying it more than critics. But also, that's a very small pool. I'm surprised. 7 rankings, 4 rankings, 13 rankings. So right around 20 rankings for all 3 if you put them together.
It's because people are too busy playing the game versus rating it.
I guess so. Like they're having, but for now, that's a good. It's always good when the people are liking it more than the critics. At least I feel like because critics,
for sure.
They're jaded and they do it for a living. You know what I mean? So how many games do they play in a week, for instance? So
right.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'm so glad that things have kind of turned around because last week I definitely got triggered by a couple of like the negative reviews because unfortunately the little negative reviews that there were knocked it all the way down into the 70s, and I'm just like I think the one thing that triggered me the most, and let me know what you think, but I think the one thing that triggered me the most is hearing people talk about how this game doesn't take risks. And I'm just like, yeah, it does. This isn't a battle royale. It's not a shooter. It's not. There's so many things that it's not, that because they decided to add balls instead of guns, it's a huge risk. What do you think?
Right. I would feel as though it's 50-50. Is that I'm not able to speak on the side of it not being a risk. But I can speak on the side of it is being a risk, because I don't know if you know about what was it? It was that ninja game on the Switch. I can't remember what it's called.
Ninjala!
Yeah, Ninjala. Do you hear about that anymore?
Nope.
Exactly. that game showed, like trailers and stuff, and everyone's looking forward to it. It looks sick. It is nowhere to be heard now.
Yeah, definitely.
And with KO City, I put it in the same category of Splatoon and Ninjala, and there's no other game that's like taken dodgeball to the degree that this game has, and has been able to take off with it. So I feel as though that's a risk in itself, being in the same category of Ninjala and Splatoon, because Splatoon already has its fan base. Ninjala, you don't hear about it anymore, and for this to be a new category, if you will, it has the same potential that Ninjala has, and this is only VLAN's second game that they've come out with.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel as though that's a big risk for what it is.
Right.
In regards of it not being a risk, the only thing that I can think of is that, again, it's in the same category of Ninjala and Splatoon, to where it's appealing visually, and so it may bring a lot of kids or a lot of family-friendly people to play together, and so they secured their spot in it not quote unquote dying just because of how approachable it may be.
Yeah, approachable, broad appeal, I guess.
Yeah,
I could see that, but then you play the game. And that, I
Yeah,
guess that's what
and
triggered me. Is it's just like, if you just look at the game, you'd be like, oh, look, it's another cutesy game where it's, it has a broad appeal of 100%. And it's like, yeah, but that literally is only until you play it, at least in my opinion.
right, and then you start getting sweat on, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm glad that it got into the 80s. I'm happy with it right now. We're already into season 1, and now it's just a matter of time. We gotta get the word out there, hopefully. So speaking of season 1, we got a new map. It's Jukebox Junction. What are your thoughts on it so far? How much have you been able to spend time there?
Jukebox Junction, that's the name of the train station, right?
Yep.
Or is that okay?
Yep.
The train station, I like it visually. I like running around the map. I don't know about playing on it.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't, in my opinion, flow well. I mean, I've only played on it like a couple of times, but it's definitely this is pretty. I like looking at this, and I love running around it. But fighting here, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the most appealing looking maps, because it looks really good, but then when you're playing it feels congested.
Yeah. I could see that, because the aesthetic almost makes you think of like the what's the city one where it's all the cars?
I think it's Knockout Roundabout.
Yeah, there you go. So like it makes you think of that, but I definitely feel like it's smaller than that. Maybe not by much, but it definitely feels smaller.
Knockout Roundabout has executed the city better than the Metro.
Yeah.
I feel like if the Metro was bigger, like Knockout Roundabout, that'd be nice, because Knockout Roundabout, I mean, you have the roundabout that's on the outskirts, and then you have like the little city that's in the middle, and everything is big abroad. When you're in this city part, things do feel congested, but then things can feel expanded once you're on the outskirts. The Metro, it just, I don't know, I didn't get that same feeling.
Yeah, too cluttered. And I don't necessarily like how getting hit by a train is an insta-kill. What do you think about that? Because I've been knocked out once by just not knowing it was there, and then twice by like trying to hit somebody into it, and then I just dodge into it, and it's frustrating.
I don't mind it, but I feel as though to readjust it, to make it more like other games, it would be more so if you get hit by it, that's an insta kill. But if the train is already going and you run into it, that only takes 1 heart.
Yeah, I think adjusting it would be really nice, because it's kind of like dropping off the map. If you screw up and drop off the map, it kind of sucks that the other team gets a point for that. Versus if you were thrown, tackled, they in some way made you fall off the map, then yeah, of course they should get the thing. So me just maybe not having very good awareness and maybe jumping on one of the jump pads into a train, like, you know, when you can go under it, that's frustrating as hell, because it's like, oh, I just gave them a point, and that can be super frustrating.
That is debatable because one, that's like that's catering towards people that don't have good awareness. In which case, having better map awareness should be something that people should be practicing on. And also, I feel as though that would be something really hard to balance because, say, if people are trying to win by time, there could easily be people that try to cheese, and if you don't get punished for jumping off the map, you could just keep on jumping off the map, catching balls, and then just killing yourself, and then try to time out the other team. So that would be something that that would be difficult to try to balance. Or if they hit you, and then if a certain period goes by, and then you just jump off the map, like, yeah, just jump off the map, you can get your health back. Yeah, they're not going to get a point. Yeah, like you should be aware of all at all times. So that's why there is an instance like, oh, I'm almost at the ledge. Oh, I'm gliding. I need to make sure I make it to the other end. Oh, there's a train here. If I die, then I give them a point. And yeah, so that's why I feel as though trying to cater towards that wouldn't be a smart decision, or it would be hard to execute rather.
Yeah, I guess I never really looked at it that way, especially being able to regen your health essentially. So that's a good way of looking at it.
Or reposition if you're getting jumped by 3 people. Oh nope, I'm just gonna run away, jump off the map. Nope, I'm gonna respawn. Not doing
True. This. It's all the cheesers that ruin it for the rest of us.
Exactly. There's a lot of cheese methods.
Yeah. So then today and yesterday we had the Dodge the Devs event. Were you able to catch any of that?
No, I wasn't actually. How'd it go? Oh, you didn't get to it either?
I didn't get to catch it. Like life, kids, and everything just wasn't on my radar. However, today, I don't think it was during the stream, but I'm like 99% sure I faced a dev team. They were called the KO Angels, and they all had the same banner. They all had the same like wings holograms or whatever. And I'm like,
got those too.
I'm pretty sure this is we won one of the rounds, so yay! And then we got pretty close on the the tiebreaker, but still it was kind of fun because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
So what makes you think that it was a dev team specifically?
Well, it was the fact that it was all three of them. All three of them had the same banner, the same clan name or whatever you want to call it, crew name, and also that it looked like most of the stuff they had was like orange rarity. You know what I mean? And it's like most of that stuff we haven't even been able to like buy yet. So, I mean, it could possibly be somebody who's been, mainlining it and only sleeping 2 hours a day. But it's like that kind of seems like when everything they're wearing is like orange based, I'm like that has to be a dev.
Yeah, and because with my crew and the people that I rock with, we even have those wings.
Oh, you do? Oh.
Yeah, our crew has those wings. So I mean, even when we roll in a squad, we all have the same banner because we're all in the same crew. We all have the same clan name, and we're all rocking high rarity stuff because our crews unlocked it.
Nice. So day one nobody was able to win, but then day two they were 2 people were able to. So there was a tweet that went out. Congratulations to Payeth and Pulley Walnuts teams who managed to best our devs in today's Dodge the Dev event. Even the t-shirt printing company teased us when we called in to get the t-shirts printed. Wear them proudly. You will be the only 6 in the world with the esteemed honor. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing, It'll be interesting maybe a month or so down the road if there's another like Dodge the Devs 2 or something.
That would be sick.
It'll be interesting how many more people can defeat them, or if they kind of keep that crown essentially.
Right, as a monumental thing. Like, nope, we're only doing this once. All right, so the other thing that we got to talk about is people complaining about the lag over on Reddit. My experience with the lag, I haven't experienced it all too much. I've only experienced it in one game, where things were like a little jittery. But other than that, my full experience, I haven't experienced any lag. If I do have to complain about something, I don't know if it's something on my end or the game's end, because it only happens on KO City. But for whatever reason, sometimes when I'm holding a key direction, so if I'm holding W or if I'm just holding J, if I'm holding any key at all, then my camera gets stuck in the middle of the screen. But if I'm not moving at all, then I can move my camera completely freely, smoothly. But then again, the moment I hold a key, it's all wanky and goes to crap. But if I plug in a controller, everything is perfectly fine. And it only happens with KO City, and that's something that's really irritating to deal with. But when it doesn't happen, everything is smooth. So I don't know if that's a bug that I'm unfortunately dealing with on my end or what, but that's my only major complaint.
Yeah. So we had this is just the most recent Reddit post. I've actually seen quite a few. But like, this is how bad it is for the guy. So this game is so effing unplayable with lag and matchmaking BS giving you bans. Seriously, you can tell if you have a shite server in the first 10 seconds. Half the time my character is moving without my input. Why not run off the edge of the map and get a better server where you can actually play, all in caps? The server does this to you regardless. So it's like, it's not that it's just not working for him or it's kind of stuttery. It's like the worst case scenario when it comes to lag, at least in this guy's thing.
Experience, yeah.
I always hate this. Let me know if this has happened to you. But a really good example, Fallout 76. Fallout 76 comes out. I played the beta for it. I played the full game for it. And I experienced, bugs, sure, typical Bethesda bugs, but nothing that was like outrageous. And so then you have video after video, creator after creator just coming out and absolutely dunking on Fallout 76. And I'm just sitting here and it's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and it almost makes me feel like, okay, like, I guess in a way it's like, it almost makes me feel weird if I'm trying to like speak out against it, because it's like, well, I'm the minority. I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not experiencing these bugs, and it always just makes for a weird situation.
I feel as though just because one person doesn't experience it doesn't mean that it's not an issue on the broader sense. But there are things that can go into it. Is that not all the time is it the game's fault? It's like, who is your internet provider? Are you playing Wi-Fi? Are you playing other people with Wi-Fi? Who is their internet provider? And obviously, as every gamer should know, is that wired, having an Ethernet cable is the way to go. So if you have 36 family members in a house and everyone is on their phones and everyone is playing video games, everyone's playing online, and you're also Wi-Fi and you're in the basement, everything can go to crap, and you can be like, oh my gosh, this game is garbage and why does it happen so often? But there's a lot of what's the word, like outlying factors that can go into it. So if unfortunately this person is going through it, but if the large audience isn't complaining about the lag, then I wouldn't say that this is necessarily an issue with the game. Rather, he's going to have to figure out something on his end. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, especially, it sucks because especially a game like this, timing counts, awareness counts,
That would make me stop playing.
Yeah, it definitely would, so. Alrighty. So that's it for the news right now. Let's get into the 5 D's of dodgeball. It's time to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. So what would you say if you had to say something, playing with randos or playing the game in general, what would you say is the number one thing that people should learn ASAP?
Don't pass the ball.
Don't even think about it.
Don't think about it. Just hog it. Just walk around the map and charge it, because obviously that's the best way to charge the map. Don't pass it, because passing it will give you an automatic charge. And if you pass the ball, then you can run around with a charged ball. But why would you want to do that? You can just walk around and charge the ball at a slow pace, and everyone can see that you're charging a red ball versus running at them with a purple one. So yeah, if there's number one thing that I have to say is don't pass it. Just charge it, and just don't be a team player, because this is a 3v3 game. Why would you be a team player? Just don't pass.
That message brought to you by Opposite Day. Pass the ball is number one. Number one is pass the ball. It's funny, even on Reddit, there's a dev that came on and did like a quick 10-second video, and of course, what's he say? Pass the ball.
Right.
There's a whole button dedicated to it. Please pass the ball.
Yeah, passing is so crucial. Oh my gosh. And at high level play, passing gets nutty.
Nuts. Yeah. During our tournament, and I was able to replicate it a little bit with a particular team I played with, but during our tournament or whatever, the team that won passed the ball. Yep. What? Mm-hmm. Wait. You mean they won? So yeah, passing the ball is so important, because in my personal opinion, and if you are one-on-one looking straight at somebody, they don't have a ball, you do, or even if they do have a ball, and all you do is chuck it at them, that can be the biggest mistake. Mm-hmm. What really matters is what you're going to do after, before. You have to have a plan. If your plan is, there's a person, that's not a plan. Because they can catch it, they can dodge it, they can tackle it. They have so many more options, whereas you only have the one. If your strategy is to throw, that's one strategy. So passing is really good for a couple of reasons. Positioning is a huge part of this game. If I can be right in front of the person, and then you're at like a 45-degree angle from them, or a 90-degree angle, even better, and I pass it to you, could they still catch the ball? Of course, but you've just cut down their likelihood of catching the ball down by like half, because then they have to realize, one, when the ball starts flying, they might just try to catch, and so they're already leaving themselves open with this animation, and then all of a sudden, oh no, it's over here, and boom, you've gotten the guy. Teamwork is so important. Of course, there's a 1v1 mode, and you can't pass in that mode, but when it comes to a team-oriented mode like 3v3, if you're not passing the ball, then you're not doing yourself any good. It automatically does an overcharge. Now, you can only have one overcharge versus, I want to say there's up to 6.
I think like 6.
Yeah, 6 overcharges. If you're volleying the ball back and forth between an enemy, you can get it up into like overcharge 7. But still, overcharge 1 can still really fake out some people. So, biggest tip that we can give for you, just a tip. Biggest tip that we can give you is pass the ball. Learn how to pass it. And hey, sometimes you literally don't even have to be looking at the person. I could be looking in the exact opposite, and the animation will automatically throw it backwards, or it'll do like a cool whoo, and throw them behind it. You don't have to even be looking at the person. Whoever's closest to you will automatically pass that ball to them. So learn it, get used to it, and then sometimes get right behind one of your guys, wait for them to throw the ball, and immediately pass it to them, and then they can throw that one too. And they might catch the first ball, but that second ball, maybe not. So any way to mess up the person, basically.
Yeah, your passing plays can just get really, really nutty. What me and my teammates do sometimes is that I'll maybe running at them, I'll be running at the opponent, and then I'll go for a tackle, and the moment I hit the tackle, he'll pass to me so I could throw it, or I'll try to jump over him, he'll pass it to me, I'll throw it back. so that he can try to throw it behind him, or we're both charging at him and we're just passing it back and forth, passing it back and forth, passing it back and forth, and like there you can just get really really nutty with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, sometimes this can work out with randos. I was able to get on one match, and it seemed like they knew what the L1 button is, which is PlayStation. It's like, oh, they actually know what this does? Okay, pass. And we did it, and surprise, surprise, we won. There's definitely some merit behind that. I'd say another thing is don't be afraid to ball up and either throw or be thrown, because what a lot of people do, and I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing, but what a lot of people will do is when I ball up, they'll immediately go for the ultimate throw, which isn't bad, especially if you're able to time it just right. You might be able to get a double KO because they have somebody who's also balled up and ready to throw, so you might be able to get yourself a double hit. But at the same time, there was one match that I went into, and pretty much the entire time I just kept balling up and having the person throw me. And we got 5 out of the 10 points from me throwing at a person, because the one thing about balling up and throwing is it's a one bop drop. You don't have to hit them twice. You hit them once. And that's very valuable.
And something else I want to touch upon when it comes to going for the ultimate is that going for the ultimate indoors actually isn't a bad thing. If you can ball up and then actually pass your partner, a lot of people don't know this, but you can still pass your partner while they're balled up, and that'll instantly give you a charge. So instead of charging up your partner to go for an ultimate, just pass the partner. That way they can charge within like a split of a second. If everyone's bunched up in an indoors environment, doing that is an instant KO.
Yeah.
Because your partner will ball up, you'll pass it, they'll instantly charge. The moment they throw them up, they're instantly bouncing off the freaking
roof. Yeah.
The roof, and then boom.
Yeah.
It's a crazy. It's a nutty play.
Yeah. So I mean, experimenting is probably one of the best things you can do. I would say bunching up can be good or bad. One of my things is like, especially watching the tournament and obviously experiencing it in game. Sometimes when you bunch up, it can be kind of a death sentence, because unless you're just really confident, which there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it feels more like chance me getting out alive than real skill, because there's 6 people all together bunched up. My personal thing is maybe get away from a bunch, so even if you keep your camera towards the action and tackle backwards so that you get away as quickly as possible, then you have maybe one of your teammates pass you the ball and you throw it at them, because they're so focused on that bunch up that they don't realize that somebody has escaped and ready to wallop them. So good.
Yeah, when it comes to being in a bunch, I personally like it because it's fast paced, high action. It also causes or demands a lot of awareness. My partner, he personally doesn't like it. But when it's a 3v3 situation and you're able to keep your composure, then you can really take control of the situation. So when there is 6 people all together, having good awareness and composure of like where the dodgeballs are, who has a dodgeball, not throwing it instantly, repositioning, all of that going on while everyone is together is super, super sick. So like for one example, my partner and I were in a 2v3, and him and I weren't throwing the ball, we were just passing it and repositioning amongst all 3 of these people that we were fighting, catching the ball, repositioning, freaking passing it upon one another. Like I'll catch it from someone else, toss it at him, he'll throw it at somebody else that was focused on me, and then that person will throw it at me, I'll catch it, throw it back at him, he'll pass me another ball, I'll throw it at a person that's focusing on him, and we took out all 3 of them. So it gets really, really sick when you are in a bunch like that. It's just that you just have to have really, really good awareness. Now, not all the time our bunches really well. It just depends on where you are on the map, how much space you have. There's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it also depends on your comfort level. If you feel comfortable in a bunch, by all means, get close, get in somebody's face, because sometimes being in their face can throw them off their guard. But if you're not the type of person who's in a bunch, try to avoid them in the smartest way possible, because the last thing you want to do is, get into a situation where you think you're confident and then it ends up just kind of blowing up in your face. Yeah, exactly. So, so low level, get out of the bunch. Higher level, get in there. Just start a mosh pit.
Exactly, start a mosh pit.
So yeah, that's it for our tips right now. If you guys have any, feel free to send them in to us down on the bottom of the screen or in the description. Let us know what you guys think are some good tips. Now let's get into the topic of the week. This week's topic of the week, I thought would be good to talk about, hey, customize everything. I think this is probably one of the coolest things about the game as of right now. So far we haven't been able to get our hands on the new game mode, which I believe is coming sometime in the season 1. And plus, obviously, we're going to have plenty of game modes in the future. But for right now, customizing literally everything is probably one of the funnest things outside the actual gameplay.
Oh, yeah. Like, having awesome customability is really, really sick, because then you get super involved with your character, super involved with your crew, and just overall enjoy the game on a larger scale versus just playing at some preset or not having good customization options and just dealing with what you have, right, versus what you want.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say, I don't want to rag on any other games, but I would say like the biggest difference between like this and a Fortnite, for instance, is I feel like even without spending a dime, other than the game itself, obviously, I feel like I have so many options.
Oh, heck yeah.
And it helps that you have an option for almost everything. Your intro, your outro, whether or not you win or not, whether or not you're the MVP or not, hitting somebody. Right now I have when I hit somebody, a little ghost like flies up into the air or whatever. I think that's kind of fun. There's a popular one is the haha one. Then there's like the ultimate holograms. What I think about what's funny about those is that it's not just the way it looks, it's also the way it sounds. So like right now I have the anvil. And so I throw up the anvil, and then when it hits, it makes a ting,
Right.
And then there's the whoopee cushion it's been in the store almost since it's come out, but there's the whoopee cushion, and when it lands, you hear a big
Right.
So having so much to customize with will keep this game fresh for, hopefully years, years from when it comes out. I think probably the number one thing I would say, maybe on the negative side, is so far I haven't seen anything orange in the shop. Eventually I would like to see. I mean, I'm sure right now all the orange stuff is for, tiers in the, street play or in the ranked or whatever. But it would be really nice to have some stuff to spend. I have like 1,200 hollow bucks because I haven't spent any of it, and it's like, oh man, I want to get something, but it's like I don't want to spend something on something so small.
Right.
So
yeah, they put a lot of thought into the customization, which I really appreciate and enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. Last thing I want to talk about today is there's another thing on Reddit. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. Wait. Sorry. Stop it. Oh, jeez. We can cut this out. It's okay. Okay. So there's a guy on Reddit, Dim Nights. And his post is popularity of Knockout City. First off, this game is incredibly fun, has a great style, and the folks playing it are not super toxic at the moment. This game has such a refreshing take on PvP, it feels like a breath of fresh air. Should it not have exploded in popularity? ? I check out YouTube for the videos, and the views on it are in the 30,000s. This Reddit has only 7890. Why isn't this game catching the eye of the PvPers, the kids, the people who love Splatoon? We got crossplay for days. It's available everywhere. It seems like such a small burst of players for now, and I'm afraid EA will deem it as a failure and stop supporting it.
When it comes to the EA thing, I'm pretty sure that like when we were talking, like with the devs or not when we were talking with them, or somewhere along the lines the devs were saying that EA wasn't gonna have much input when it comes to supporting the game, is that everything is really gonna become prevalent. So I don't feel as though if we don't have the biggest player base right now, that EA would deem it as a failure, or even if they did, that this game would just die and stop getting support.
Yeah. I would say the only thing I am worried about is this might be a very slow burn kind of game. So I feel like we got 2 million. The devs tweeted that out. We got 2 million, which is a really good number. The only thing I'm worried about is like, you have like Call of Duty had like 10 million within the first weekend or something. And Fortnite, I want to say, it was breaking records left and right. And at least personally, I think it's way better than those games. But that's also because I just have a lot of fun with it, and so I have kind of a soft spot for it. But it is kind of maybe a little worrying. I ended up responding to the guy on Reddit, and pretty much my thoughts were like, honestly, I just hope that it does good. It was kind of our sentiment on the last episode that this game is so good, and if people give it a chance, it can do great. It's just when we have people who unfortunately, come in, they try 2 or 3 matches, and they're like, this isn't like Call of Duty, and then they just bounce. It's like, oh no, this could be a problem. Hopefully it won't be, but it could be. So yeah, it's something a little weird.
I feel like what would be the issue is that not so much people picking up the game and saying, oh, this isn't my Fortnite, oh, this isn't my Call of Duty, oh, this isn't my Street Fighter. Like, what Street Fighter, huh? But I feel as though a lot of people would see the game and feel as though it's not their type of game based off of the look, versus playing it and then really diving deep into it. So I feel as though that the player base would struggle in that sense of expanding, just because they're not willing to dip their toe in the water.
Yeah,
because that's how I was. As I said in a previous podcast, that personally I wasn't gonna play the game. Personally, I didn't care for the game. I avoided the game.
That first
while my
trailer
friend was playing it.
The first trailer was horrible. It's like has an orc, an 8-bit person, a guy in SWAT gear, and it's just like, what is this game? I don't understand.
Their approach of saying that anybody and everybody can play it wasn't executed well.
Yes, definitely.
But my thing was that there is only one thing that pushed me to play KO City, was that my friend was playing it, and he was already playing it for a good bit during the beta, and I was waiting on Outriders. I was playing the demo to Outriders, and so then he said, "Yeah, Ike might keep on playing this over Outriders," and I said, "What?" I said, "You're playing this over, huh? You're playing this over Outriders? You're insane." You know what? I'm on your head now. Nah, I'm playing this game. I'm about to see what it's about, because you literally just put this game over Outriders. How dare you? And mind you, I put over 100 hours in the demo of Outriders. So I was like, oh yeah, you want to put this over Outriders? Nah, we better see what this is about. And I got hooked.
Right. The rest is history, as they would say.
The rest is history, yep.
So, I mean, it is good that we have people like Brie Larson, playing the game. It's interesting we were able to get something like that in the first weekend, pretty much. And then you look at like Fortnite, and it took them a couple months, and they had the whole Drake thing or whatever. So it's like, it's kind of cool that we were able to do that. And I also see people like Greg Miller from Kind of Funny. He's kind of been championing it. And there's people championing it But it kind of makes you wonder if it's going to be enough, if the competitive nature will be just too much for some people. Like, oh no, I just want to have fun. I just want to, and I think you can just have fun with it, but that's obviously me. So it'll be interesting to kind of see this game in a couple of months, and hopefully, like I said, I feel like Rocket League, as many times as we keep going back to Rocket League, I feel like Rocket League is a perfect example of where this game could go. Because I feel like Rocket League had a really good burst because it had free on PlayStation Plus, for instance. But I really don't feel like it was super popular until maybe even 6 months to a year after it came out, when people just started slowly getting into it. They started having some tournaments, and people started seeing, oh no, this game's for real. So I would love to see where the tournament brings us, because if you didn't know this, maybe this should have been in news, but anyways, if you didn't know this, it went from 64 teams up to like 200 teams. I don't remember the exact number, but it's like, and that's 3v3, so that's not 64, that's 180 some odd players, 200 players for the 64. Now it's gone up to 200 times 3, so we're looking at 600 people in a tournament, and that's just for North America. Then you have the EU,
right? Yep.
So I would
and
really.
EU is almost maxed out right now.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying EU is almost maxed out right now too.
Yeah. So I'd really like to see this game after we have our first like official. This is EA. They're gonna have all like the cool graphics, with like the two teams like butting heads, like in football and stuff. It'll be really cool to see once we have our first official tournament how much the game starts to pick up steam. Because I feel like right now, you're playing with the devs, and that's really cool. But I feel like that's really cool for the fans.
Right.
And the fans will definitely champion it, and they'll definitely get out the word as much as they can, but it really only goes so far. When we have that first official tournament, and we actually have, like, nobody's watching the game, or not nobody's, but just regular-ass people watching the game, and be like, I've heard about this game. Oh, wow, this looks super fun. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. All right. I think that's going to be the show today. As always, you guys can get a hold of us down below at Twitter, at TX3 Productions, ThreadX3 Productions on YouTube, twitch.tv/ThreadX3 if you want to watch us live. And, of course, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. I was Nick.
And this is Metsu.
And you guys have yourself a great day. We're going to end you with some music. Feel free to stick around or just bounce.
Welcome to Knocked Out Radio, your number one knockout.